Good morning, everyone, and good afternoon, depending where you are. Before we start, can you please give us a short notice if you can hear us and if you can also get the video stream through? Please write us a quick note to the chat or a question. All right, seems like everything is working well. So thank you. And welcome once more. My name is Bishoy Gerges, and I'm here with my colleague Miguel Parra from the Trimble mobile mapping support team. And in today's webinar, we'll present to you what's new in Trimble MX 21.1. So this is the first webinar of this year, 21, and we're going to start off, of course, with the new features in the latest TMX release 21.1. So to start with, we're going to give you a quick introduction about today's goal, some of the prerequisites in order to follow up with us efficiently along the presentation. And we're going to go through the list of new features. We're going to start with features that are relevant for all desktop products. After that, we're going to go through the features that are specific to the TMX Content Manager, and then some of the features that are specific to the Asset Modeler, whether it's the standard or the pro version. And finally, we'll have a word about the new changes to the TMX client server. And finally, we'll wrap up with the available resources and, of course, questions and answers. So today's goal is to learn about the new features of Trimble MX version 21.1, whether it's features that are available for all the products or that are specific to some of them. These features, of course, will help you work more efficiently, and the implemented workflows can save you some time in your day-to-day work. As a prerequisite for that webinar, to follow up with us efficiently, you should have a basic understanding of the mobile mapping data processing, so from start to finish, and also you should have a basic understanding of the Trimble MX software, how to process data, how to import data in the software, and also some basic understanding of how the tools work. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start with the new features that are relevant to all of the desktop products. First, we have a new enhancement on the Procedures tab. So the Procedures tab looks a little bit different now. First of all, it's going to be organized and arranged alphabetically. And second, it will also be a little bit more concise with some of the features reorganized in a different way. In order to enable this view, this is called a merge view. You can enable it from the config trimble.ini file that can be found in the program files. And there's an option that you can set either to true or false, depending on your preference. Another change to the Procedures tab is that the US mapping is now renamed to area mapping, and the project concept has also changed now to group concept. So the concept itself is the same, it's just the name is different. So now instead of calling a group of runs project, now we call them a group. Additionally, we have now tags. And the tags are basically for data management and filtering, and you can tag any mobile mapping run with the word of choice, and you can have a couple of runs tagged with the same tag or label, if you would call it. Then you can simply search or filter the runs with this tag. Additionally, we also have a new preference group. So under preferences, we have now a mapping extension, and the mapping extension has a group of settings or preferences that can control the viewing options of the mobile mapping viewers. So whether this is a mobile mapping viewer, aerial viewer, oblique, or also a slice view. So some of the options that we have is an option to synchronize the map from the views, which means the further you move from the view, the further the map also moves with you. And another option to synchronize all the views together so they move in synchronization. Another option we have is focus view, and I will illustrate this quickly with the screenshot that we have. Imagine that from the top left side, now you have the 3D map, and you see here we have a building that we made a slice to visualize its facade. So the facade would appear under as you see it in the slice view. Now, let's say your views are not synchronized, and of course the image view is looking somewhere else and you don't know where this building is. So you can simply right-click in the slice view and click Focus Other Views here, and you will see that immediately all the views will be synchronized and looking at that specific view with the point of your choice at the center of the view. So this is a very handy feature that can save you the time of navigating through the views. Additionally, we have a new procedure. This is called import and process run, and that procedure saves you time by simply allowing you to organize your files inside a mapping run, putting the files where they should belong, and simply drag and drop an OMR file for that specific run, and TMX will automatically do everything else from importing the point cloud to importing the CSV files and the JPEGs as well. So my colleague Miguel will also demonstrate how this can be done in a minute. We also have now a selectable path while you're importing your run or editing it. If you remember, you have this small step where you have to move the images. Now the path where you should move the images to is now selectable, so you can simply copy that path, paste it in your Explorer, and you go simply, or you can jump simply to that path and copy your images to. Additionally, we have now an option to predefine a target CRS for a source CRS. Meaning if you're used to work in a certain target source CRS pair, you can define this pair in an INI file under your program files system CRS folder. And with that definition, simply when you enter the source CRS, then the target will be picked directly based on that definition. All right, more changes. Now we have also on the dataset list side of things. So the dataset list now look a little bit different. With icons assigned to each resource, you can now identify every single layer, whether it belongs to a mobile mapping run or area run or oblique. And you can simply see at a glance here that the dataset list, the screenshot that we have, has resources belonging to a mobile mapping run. And this is identified by the car icon with a small mobile mapping system on top. So this is a mobile mapping run. Additionally, you can double click any of the resources to simply zoom in or zoom to the extents of that resource. So saves you the time of right click, zoom to data extent. Now you can just simply double click it. We also have now a new restriction introduced to the resources belonging to mobile mapping runs, that you cannot modify these the CRS display name or scale limits for these resources. So this can only be modified once you import them, and you cannot modify or play with them later. Additionally, we have an option to close run or a data set by simply right-clicking on it. You can choose to close it, which can be very handy. And instead of searching for the minus button or where can I remove a certain data set from the list. Additionally, the save workspace functionality now will save all of the open resources that allows you to open them once more once you open that specific workspace. Moving to another topic with the 3D hover. The 3D hover now will be shown on the 2D map as you navigate through the mobile mapping view. So it's synchronized as well, showing where you're actually clicking. And you can also have now an option to copy multi-part measurements as individual features. This means if you, for example, extract a cube A cube has 6 sides. All of them are squares. Then each square will be saved as an individual feature, and instead of storing the whole cube as one single feature. Now I will leave you to the hands-on part with my colleague Miguel, who will demonstrate some of the features that we have talked about.
Okay, thank you, Bishop, for that. Welcome everyone from my side to the webinar. I will start with the new feature of importing a run. So for that purpose, I will use Content Manager, but this procedure will is applicable for any TMX software. To be able to use the drag and drop option, you be working in a folder structure that is given for our template that we are familiar with when we are importing the runs in TMX. The difference here is that all the coordinate system for each data type has been already defined, meaning the point cloud, panoramas, and trajectory in this case. Another difference here in my folder structure is that the panorama, all the data contains an original folder with the corresponding data. In the case of the panorama, will contain the JPEGs, and in the case of the point cloud, we will have the lasers in LAS files exported out of TBC. And for example, also in the trajectory, you will find the corresponding data stored in the original folder. So with those two requirements, we could use simply the OMR file, and we will drag and drop in the map of the TMX. So TMX pop up the wizard to import the run, and if I can check the list of processes that will be doing during the wizard, and I can easily start the process with start now or delegate it to the task manager. As you see here, the process is running, so starting with the point cloud generation, so it's converting or optimizing the point cloud to OPC file. And as you see here, the data, the process data will be stored in the same location as we create as the original data. So meaning raw data and process data will be stored in the same location. So a big difference in the process that we had before. Here we see also OBF file generated for point cloud and for the trajectory. And if we check here in our mobile mapping view or the map, the process is finished and the run is created. So on the left-hand side in the dataset list, we can identify that, of course, we have now a mobile mapping run. And also we could utilize or we can distinguish two options. One that close the run, that in that case will be closing the first 3 resources that we have. And in case we are going to close a different data set, we will be able only to use data set to close this specific resource. Another option very useful for while you are working in editing or importing the run is to select the coordinate system, as Bishoy explained. So if, for example, you have a specific coordinate system, they by default will be assigning the same source coordinate system as a target. But if you define a specific transformation for a coordinate system, you will have this file where you could specify your command or more useful or more use conversion methods to move between local and global coordinate systems. For example, here I have a conversion between UTM and Gauss-Kruger, or local coordinates to UTM and vice versa. So for example, in this case, I can use the option to export this data set. And if I expect the coordinate system of this data set is 2932, referring to Qatar National Grid. And if you pay attention to the change button, you see that I cannot change this coordinate system. So meaning that all the mobile mapping data has a fixed coordinate system, giving us more consistency in the workflow to work with the mobile mapping data. So in case I'm interested to export this file or any data set from the dataset list, I will use the corresponding tool. And as I have already defined this transformation between the Qatar national grid to the corresponding UTM, the source and target will be written automatically. So this is one of the new tools that you could use in all of the mobile map, the TMX software. So let's move back to the presentation to see more new features in TMX Content Manager.
All right, thank you, Miguel. So coming back to the presentation here, let me go through the list of features that are relevant specifically to the TMX Content Manager. So we're going to start with the catalog. And the catalog now introduces a new filter. As you see here, we have in the top screenshot and the bottom screenshot, this filter highlighted with the square on the left-hand side. The filter lets you basically filter the available resources in the catalog based on their type. In the case of the upper screenshot, we have here mobile mapping resources only. And in the lower part, we can see that we have reference resources that can be simply a TIFF shapefile, OMI, or an OVT. In addition to that, we have a new camera counter, and that basically tells you the amount of cameras that you have for every single mobile mapping run. In the case of the first highlighted run that you see here on the top screenshot, we have one panoramic camera and we have 3 planar cameras. For example, if you'd have an MX9 single head, you would have maybe no planners at all, or maybe you'd have 3 planners, 1 panorama, depending on the system that you have and depending on the data that you have imported. Moving to other new features, we also have now an enhanced functionality on the Calculate Image Availability tool. Basically, this will let TMX calculate the missing images compared to the imported ones. This means, for example, you have a CSV file that contains 100 images, but you simply copy 50 JPEG files to the run folder. You will end up with 50 missing images, and that will be highlighted in a report that can be found in the metadata folder. And with that report, you can simply identify which pictures are missing. Not only that, but you can also employ this functionality further with the edit run option. So you can combine these two together. And in edit run, you can have an option to delete any missing photos after they have been calculated and analyzed. Now TMX, of course, knows which ones are missing, and it will completely delete them or remove them from your run. In addition to that, we have also an enhanced procedure for image optimization. Now you can optimize images per camera instead of for all cameras. And we also have a new mask creator that lets you create masks to mask out your vehicle in the panoramic images, which can be useful for colorization purposes. Moreover, we have now an enhanced functionality for importing 3D objects. So when you drag drop a 3D object in the content manager, the content manager will automatically create for you an INI and ORD files. These 2 files can be used in a combination with the 3D object file itself to generate what is called as an annotation. And the annotations are also a new feature to the TMX Content Manager 21.1, and they can be used for making annotation library that can be employed in TMX publisher publications. All right, so now it's time for hands-on. So Miguel, please.
Thank you, Bishoy. Then let's continue with this recently imported run in Content Manager. So now we will see the run that is already open in our dataset list, and with the help of the catalog, we will investigate the information contained in this run. So first thing that we should do is to see if this run is complete, meaning that if we have all the necessary data to be published, and for that we need to use the option to calculate data volume of the catalog tab. The first thing that we can notice here are the difference between the photo positions and the available images in our original folder. So to fix this problem, we have two options. Either we add the missing images, or in the worst case, we need to delete the photo positions for which we don't have images. To get this information, we use the last option to calculate the availability of images, and this procedure basically will give you the report of missing images, and this report will be stored in this folder, the metadata folder, containing basically a list of images that are missing. So in that case, we have 6 panorama missing. So the first option that we have to fix this one will be using the edit procedure, and in that case we need to use, for example, the first option for panorama. The first panorama option gives you the opportunity to navigate quickly to the location of the original folder, and if it's the case, maybe you could add the missing images in case by mistake you didn't copy it at the beginning before we import and drag and drop the OMR file to generate the run. If it that's not the case, we could use the second panorama option in the wizard that would allow us to delete the missing position. So in that case, deleting those images, I will make sure that I have both of them in the same quantity. Here, I just need to update the information in the catalog, and we have 11 position and 11 original images. What is missing now is that these images are still not ready to be published, so our HTML5 indicator is red. As you might know, we need to, for that purpose, we need to optimize the images, and here we could see that there is no enhancement for the processing of the images, in which we have the option to process images individually per camera, meaning that before we have the option only to process all cameras at once, but now we could use, for example, the second, the navigation button of the wizard to optimize the camera that we are interested. Additional to this filter for the optimization, we could also apply mask. These masks allow us to use draft of the mask to remove the car out of the image, and also this mask could be utilized for point cloud colorization purposes. These masks will be generated also in a new extension included in Content Manager that we will look on the right hand side of my screen. So this mask creator basically will generate a draft image based on the available original images for the corresponding camera. So in this case, this one has only panorama, and as soon as I click new one, it will generate the draft. Second option that you have is, obviously, once you generate one, you can edit this marks, and the tools mark creator will give you the tools to create polygons to mask out the unwanted objects in the image. Once you save and create this draft, this draft can be used by giving a new name, and we can import it and create it as a mask. This mask will be stored automatically in the installation folder of the software, so you will have this configuration for all of your projects. Then if you come back to optimize images, you will have these marks available for the optimization of the images. But in the purpose of my exercise, I will skip this one just to save some time in the processing. In this case, I will have the opportunity to optimize the images, and doing that, just remind you that this process always will store the images inside the process camera, the process folder, sorry. So keep in mind that this procedure will contain, as I said before, the two data sets. So in case that you want to recover the data, you might be interested to keep this folder as a main folder. Okay. Meanwhile, the images are going to be processed. I'm going to move to the next step, that is another new functionality of Content Manager, that is the annotations. This functionality allows us not only to visualize 3D objects, but use any customized 3D object inside or create our customized library for annotations using 3D objects. So before, the procedure was mainly manually, and now with the TMX, sorry, this one, no. With TMX Content Manager, we just need the geometry of the 3D object, and by dragging and drop the file, we will generate, so maybe this one is open, sorry for that. If I drag and drop my base station here, you will see that the INF file and ORD file needed to visualize this object is created automatically. So here, if I move to the tab map.gl, I will be able to visualize. But the purpose of this one is not only to visualize, so I want to make sure that this stop is available for further use in my annotations tool. So here in the software is already included some of the objects. So you will have 5 objects already included. But if you want to enhance your library of objects, you will use these newly created files, and you will create a new annotations in the folder in the installation folder of Content Manager. So each folder represents 3D object, and basically what I'm adding additional to the previous file that I showed you is a JPEG file with the thumbnail for the object. So once this object is added here, I can move back to my point cloud, and I can work basically by creating any annotation. How I create the annotation? Let me double click to the point cloud, and in this snip of the point cloud, I just select the object of interest that I wanted to use. So let me use the newly created bus stop. The first click that I'm going to do is to define the location of the annotation. If I do a second click, I will have the option to modify the location of my 3D object, and finally I can move to the ground on the data set. As soon as I'm happy with the location and the addition of the 3D object, I can stop. And now all the elements added to the map will be saved as an annotation that could be used for sharing to the colleague inside our organization, or to be loaded in a TMX publisher. So now in the desktop application, you could easily create and visualize your annotations. So I don't want to save it here. And last, I just want to check that the optimization process of the images has finished. And last, I want to check again the ability of my run, and I will have a run ready to be published with an annotation. Okay. So with that, I will go back to the presentation to see new features of the TMX asset modeler.
All right, thank you, Miguel. So moving to the asset modeler and the new features there, we're going to start with the attributes. Excuse me. So on the attribute side of things, we have now a customized attribute for dynamic symbols dataset, which means if you'd like to add a dynamic symbols dataset, you can now customize their attributes and instead of relying on the default ones that cannot be customized. In addition to that, the attributes step in the wizard is now improved, and the navigation in the wizard is improved, and the attributes will remain regardless whether moving forward or backward in the wizard steps. In the past, this used to disappear, but now they will remain. So that's an improved bug that has been fixed. On the object edition side of things, we have now an option to cancel the edits, whether these edits are on the geometry or on the attributes. So it's very handy in case you did something wrong, you can simply cancel it. And we have also now a new tool that lets you select the objects in the mobile mapping tab. In the past, that was not possible. You could only select in 2D or 3D map, but now you can definitely select objects inside the mobile mapping view itself. Moreover, we have another tool that would let you set the ground height directly from the point cloud, and instead of setting that from the OMR file. So you can simply right-click on any point in the 3D map and set it as a ground height that can be used as a fixed ground height for some of the tools. In addition, we have also some new measurement tools. So we have 6 new measurement tools for volume. So this will let you create volumes in multiple different ways. And we have also another tool to extract the mobile tower antennas. So please bear in mind that this is designed specifically to design certain types of antennas, as you see here in the picture. And this is a semi-automated tool, which means you can click once and then you get the antenna itself. In addition, we have an improved snapping on the railway extraction tool that would let you snap to an existing center line, and the tool would automatically continue the measurements from that line. So that's better consistency and better connection between the extracted features. And you can also now reference that extracted railway line to another line reference, for example, your trajectory. In addition to that, we have some changes to the formulas and new things as well. We have now a new formula that would let you save the mobile mapping run name as an attribute. Could be handy if you're working with lots of runs and you don't know from which run a specific feature came from. So that's one formula. And in addition to that, we have a new set of formulas that can save the coordinates of the vertices of a polyline, and you can save up to 20 of them. So in X, Y, and Z. So it could be very handy if you're interested in saving the coordinates of the vertices as an attribute. On the resources side, we have 3 new resources or 3 new possibilities to add resources. We have a possibility to add a vector database resource, meaning that you can simply create a vector data set and store it in a database. And that can be done completely within TeamX without the need to create the table by yourself. So TeamX will take care of this and will also create the according ODB and ORD files. In addition, we have a new tool to get vector database connections from a database, meaning if you have an existing table, in TeamX you can now open a connection to a database and see all of the available tables and pick the one that you want and establish a connection to that existing table. TeamX will also construct the corresponding ODB and ORD files that are needed for the connection. And we also have a new web resource connection that you can establish a connection to tiled map, WMS, or WTMS through. TeamX also will generate the OTM files that are needed for the connection through the user interface by itself. All right, so now it's time for hands-on, so Miguel will take care of the rest.
Okay, so for the new features of Asset Modeler, I will use this data set, and the first feature that we like to see is how to measure the height of this um, tower when there is no clear definition of our ground. So for that reason, I can use the ground surface definition that we just explained it. But to do so, I just can hover my mouse, and in the place that we are going to define the ground height, I can set the point there to establish my reference point, and with any feature, any measurement that uses the ground as a reference, I can uh, exactly measure the height of any object. So very useful in that case that you want to establish a fixed reference. Another way to modify that one will be by the math canvas. So manually you can input a fixed high value in case you want to reference all the measurements to that level. The second option that we have, or second enhancement, is to extract or to snap the railway, uh, the center railway. For that, I will use another functionality that we introduced with this new release, that is the option to create an automatic connection to the database. And so the connection to the database should be established already. So in that case, I will be working with MySQL. And here the wizard will allow you to do the test if the connection is available. And if so, I just can create my vector file or my ODB file that will be doing the connection to to the database. Maybe this one is already in the database, sorry. Then I can also use any of the configurations given for the specific type of resources. So in that case, I will use the given ones for the rail, and maybe just change a bit the symbology. And those attributes were the ones that will be stored directly in our database. So I will store those files, and as we mentioned before, the ODB file will be generated together with the ORD and OLG file. I will save it here in case we want to check later on. Let me click here my measurements, and now to extract the railway, you might be familiar with this tool, railway with 3 clicks. So first, we need to ask ourselves if we are going to extract the center line. So for that, might be no set yet. So we need to check the detector's configuration of the railway and make sure that the center line is printed. Another thing that we want to make sure if we want to store the lines independently, or if we want to store the 3 lines as a multi-part object. So by activating this option here on my screen, I can store individual lines as one entry per line in our database. So then I will perform the measurement as we are used to do it. So first click in the starting point, second click for the direction of extraction, and the third click to establish the width of the railway. So the extraction is starting, indicated with the green dots, and I can stop it in any moment. And here, basically, I just need to activate my data set to copy the measurement that I established. If I check here in the object inspector, I have the 3 objects that I stored separately, and then I can continue doing the extraction in the opposite way. To do the continued extraction, I want to make sure that the lines are extracted and snapped directly in the starting point of the previous line. So for that, I will use the options to edit and make sure that I'm snapping to the objects of the vertices of the objects. And then the measurement will be a first point to snap to the line, second click to define the direction of the extraction, third click will be snapping to the center line, and the final click will be snapping to the another line. So here the measurement is starting, and now I can also stop to don't make it too long. Okay, then Another functionality that we have here is to have the option in case that any edition, first I need to copy to feature, yes, and now are there in the attribute table. And if I select any object for the order edition, I can use the new functionality to cancel in case of doing any mistake while updating the object. Okay, that is regarding the functionalities of editing and extraction. And regarding measurements, let me move on to already saved data set. So I will use the option to open the data set for volume calculations. And in that case, I will be interested to store the files using the new resource database resource connection. What's the difference here? That the difference is that I'm going to use the same database connection, but I will do the connection directly to a table inside the database. So this database contains a table that I call it template, and this template will contain the newly formulas included in the last release, meaning the coordinates of the vertices for the any extracted feature. In this case, I will use the volumes and the run name for each extraction. Okay. As you see here, the formulas are not given, so I will explain you how to add these formulas so you could store it directly into the database. Same here, the ODB file will be generated. I will save it here as maybe template. And by doing the edition of the ORD files, the so-called configuration of formulas via configuration, I can use the same attributes given in my attribute table, and then I will add the corresponding measurement tool so I can have the automatic extraction of my attributes. And then while editing this ODB file, I can use still the connection to the database, and I will be available to extract and see that all the properties of the attributes are given with the corresponding formula. Then let's move to do the measurements. So 2 clicks to, let me delete this one, 2 clicks to zoom in, and I will extract the features out of the images. So let's move here to this known location so I can just explain you how to extract. Yeah. So for example, if we are interested to extract this volume, is a simple example. We can use any of the new features for the volume. So one of the easiest one is volume with 3 clicks. Basically, click the first 2 clicks will define the base of your volume, and the third one will be giving you the height of that volume. If I store this one in my database, I can check the attribute table of this, and I will see that as I decided to copy individual features for the extracted object, I will have 6 entries in my data set, in my database. And also I will have for each individual plane, the coordinates of the vertices, the coordinates for each vertex. And additional to that, I will have the run name from where the feature was extracted from. That's it from the asset modeler new features. So let's move to the new things in the extensions. I think we show this now there. So
sorry, I
yep,
was on mute.
okay. Okay.
Right. Thank you, Miguel. So moving to the last part of the asset modeler. So we have now some new features that are mostly relevant to the TMX Asset Modeler Pro. So we have a new automated feature extraction tool for trees. So that will let you automatically extract trees and also do some trees analysis on some of the existing trees that you have in your data set. Also there is a way or there is a simplified workflow to integrate and import the extracted features into a theme, an asset inventory theme, by simply right-click on the extracted features and importing into the theme. That would allow you definitely to use all of the advantages of an asset inventory theme. Additionally, we have an option to add a point cloud, a part of the point cloud, as an additional resource to an extracted item in the asset inventory itself, which could be either a point cloud selection or a piece of the point cloud itself. It can be attached to any extracted features. Moreover, we have now a nice attribute overlay in the snapshots. So the snapshots come with the list of attributes of each object that they are attached to. And this is can be very helpful because once you open the screenshot and you would see the feature, you'd also see the attributes that are associated with that feature. In addition to that, we also have a new modifications to the profiles and cross sections tool. Now you can change the slice height of the cross sections and profiles, and you can also export the point clouds of that specific profile or cross section. Now we'll leave you with short hands-on with Miguel. So please go ahead.
Thank you, Bishoy. Then for the last part of the hands-on, I will show you functionalities of Asset Modeler Pro. So first extension that we want to work with is the tree analysis on the right-hand side. So this extension works similar as the poles, extraction, and traffic signs. So we are working in projects based on the point cloud available for the run. So to create a project, I can hit the button New Project, and that will give us two options. The trees along the path will allow you to extract new features, and the seed points option will serve as a check of positions. If in that position, for example, a vector file containing points will be working as a seed to check if in that position there is a tree. For the presentation, I will show you only how to extract new features using the first option. Once I select this option, I need then to select or create my searching area. And this searching area will be draw or be useful to work with the trajectory. So the trajectory, I will be using the information of the trajectory to look for the trees along the trajectory on the left or on the right. So I will define my segment along the trajectory by 2 clicks, a starting point and ending point, and then I will customize the searching area. The searching area I will basically play if I'm interested to look in the left-hand side or if I'm interested to look in the other side of the trajectory. So as all the trees are on the right-hand side, I just limit this search area to this side of the trajectory. And then as the other extensions, you will have the basic parameters or the default parameters to test in any particular feature. But also important, this extension allows you to output the point cloud selection for each tree. So if you select this option, you will have independent point cloud for each detected feature. So then you could do also the test procedure to evaluate parameters. And if you're happy with do so, you could hit the start button to detect the features. Let me just save a bit of time to show you the results of this same area. So the results of the detected feature will give you, of course, the OBF file with the location and the attribute table with some of the properties of the tree. And what is also important here is that we will have creation of the OP OPF file for the detected feature. If we go to the point cloud folder, we will check the detected features. For example, we could load the individual OPF file for any particular detected feature. So let me switch off my original point cloud, and we will have here the extracted object. So this point cloud could be also used in the asset inventory, as Bishoy just mentioned. How to do so? So we need to add the result of the asset feature extraction into asset inventory, which could be done by right click and import as asset inventory. So to show you another interesting example, I will switch to post extraction. So to show you that one works the same way that we just did it. Here I had the result of my post extraction. I went interested now to add it to the asset inventory procedure, and now the only way to do so is by right click and import asset inventory theme. This asset inventory theme, I just need to give my name to the extracted features and the coordinate system, and that one will be imported as a pulse. Now, if we perform, for example, an addition into this theme, I can also add not only a snapshot documents, but the point cloud. How to do so? Basically, we need to use the new asset inventory. Sorry, it's here, asset inventory edit item. So I need to choose my theme. And now I can select directly from the mobile mapping tab. So if I use the mobile mapping tab and I'm interested to select this object, activating the puzzle icon, I can use the new button for selection, and I will be in edit mode from the mobile mapping tab. So here you could basically do any addition of the geometry, but take into account that the formulas given in this theme are coming for feature extraction, feature detection. So that one won't be updated. So please keep in mind that. In case I'm happy with the addition, I can see that I can edit the attributes, of course. I can add the snapshot, and as you see now here, we can also overlay the information from the attribute table as additional information in the snapshot. The nice tool that we have now is that you could also add the point cloud that define this object. How we can do so? For example, if we have the trees that is already a single file for the detected feature, you could do so by selecting it. But if you want to extract it for a mobile mapping run, you could use the selection tool for point cloud, and you could select the point cloud for this and perform a rectangular selection out of the 3D map by 2 clicks, and then you could perform some cleaning if you are not interested to store the ground, and if you are going to store only the point cloud for this specific object. Once the selection is performed, I can add it to my asset inventory as a attribute, but also this point cloud will be stored as an independent OPC file. Sorry. So if I visualize only the object will be individual OPC, and you will have this stored in the asset inventory suite for the extracted features as a individual OPC file. Okay, hope you have enjoyed the hands-on part. So let's move on to the last part of our presentation. Again.
All right, thank you, Miguel. So we're almost through with our presentation. Only one small comment here on the TMX Asset Modeler client and server. So we have one small change to reflect the latest changes that were done on the Adobe Flash Player. So as most of you know, that was retired. It came to end of life by December 2020. which means that you will not be able to navigate to your server with the EOS console anymore because it employs Adobe Flash Player. So the solution for that is that now we have a new console as a standalone product, which allows you to open the same viewer and access all the functionalities of the console, but in a standalone application. So that's all on the asset model client and server side, and Miguel will show you right now how this new console looks like and how you can access your console functionalities from it.
So for those customers that already performed the update of the TMS client and server, you might have already installed the Adobe Air application, and on top of that, you will have the standalone EOS console, which will be located in the Trimble panel with the name of TMX EOS console. So basically, you need just to remember or to give the path or the URL of the previous console to have access to the workspaces and resources that you have. So here, nothing changed regarding the functionalities, just that the application will be a standalone. So all the databases, data sets, workspaces that you have before, you will be able to work without any issue. Additional to that, you will have also the benefits of all the new features that we just explained today. Okay.
All right. So I think that brings us to the end of the presentation. Now, maybe just a couple of points to mention that we invite you all to visit our new mobile mapping knowledge base. So this can be found in the help.trimblegeospatial.com. This is the help portal for Trimble Geospatial department, and there you would find our Trimble mobile mapping knowledge base. You can find troubleshooting information, you can find tips and tricks, FAQs. So please visit the knowledge base, make yourself comfortable, and navigate through the different topics. And I'm sure that you will definitely find one or more relevant topics to some of your questions. In addition to that, we of course have our Trimble mobile mapping channel on YouTube, where we update regularly with the latest videos from this webinar or from other helpful videos. So please visit the channel, give it a try. And in addition to that, we also have all the previous geospatial webinars can be viewed through the geospatial.trimble.com portal /webinars. There you find recordings of all the geospatial webinars. Of course, you can definitely contact us directly on the imaging support email address, imaging_support@trimble.com. A hint for you, in order to get to your question as quickly as possible, please make sure that you include a keyword for mobile mapping product. That would help us greatly for your question or case to reach the corresponding group, so we could answer you in a timely manner. So I think that brings us to the end. Maybe we'll have some time for some questions and answers. So thank you, and please let us know in the questions tab if you have any questions. We will be waiting for a couple of minutes to answer your questions that might arise. So please go ahead, shoot your questions, and we'll be happy to answer them. Seems like we don't have any questions so far. It is indeed a lot to digest, so we tried to fit everything new in 21.1 and in one video or in one webinar. So We hope you will have the time to review the recording and indeed try to practice yourself the new features.
Maybe it will be useful if we can share the presentation if it's needed.
Yeah, definitely. We can share the presentation on demand. So please, if you're interested in the presentation itself, please send us an email on imaging_support. Otherwise, you'll get the recording, link to the recording, of course, if you have registered for the webinar. Okay, so I think we're through. No more questions are coming. So we would like to wish you, of course, at the end of this, a great start in 2021, and hope you enjoyed the webinar. And we are looking forward to seeing you again in the upcoming webinar. So please keep posted and stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you very much.
Thank you from my side too. Keep it safe and see you in the next webinar.